Within a group, every group goes through a series of steps, I guess I should say. And as a leader, it's good to understand them for more than one reason. One, so that you can help the group progress through the steps, and number two, to kind of understand what's going on. But first, let's talk a little bit about groups and why do people join groups. And each of us has our specific reasons depending on the group that we join, but it might be for social reasons, to meet new people. It might be because we want to learn a skill. It might have to do with advancement, kind of like we were talking about professional organizations in the networking presentation. Sharing something that you love to do with a significant other or a friend. Coercion. Sometimes you're forced into doing something and being part of a group. Making a statement, especially political groups. Or self-identity. Maybe you want to identify as that kind of person, and so you then join the group. Each of us has our own personal reasons, but they are all personal to us. And they have an important role. Groups play an important role. Your friends make up a group, and so therefore they are your social life and your identity sometimes, or your skills or your career will be defined by the groups that you're in, or maybe the groups that you're in will be defined by those other things. But there's a lot of influence there. Groups have a lot of influence on us. It could be shared participation, like doing something with other people will kind of influence our lives. Public commitment, especially if it's some sort of a public group, it's performing some social good. For giving you social support. The most common reason people join groups is for social support, to avoid loneliness, to be with other people. Normative standards. It might just be that it's the group then, because you're this kind of person, you will therefore act this way. Sometimes you'll see it will do either positive spin on things or negative spin on things. Hazing and other activities like that because of fraternities and sororities. Whereas if you're in the chess club at your school, you're expected to act a certain way. And so the normative standard then is that you will do something, you will act a certain way. And then psychological stability. It is good for us psychologically to be with other people. Sometimes that's something that we could even be prescribed by a therapist, is to be with other people, be part of some sort of group. But within the idea of group dynamics, groups change. They're never done. It's a fluid, very fluid process as a group, because people are fluid as well. We're always changing. But there are lots of elements of group dynamics that will impact how successful the group is, how well they share goals, who's in the group. Is it like something that you apply for? Or do you just get in? Do you just enter or join the group if you want to? How cohesive the group is, how well people participate, their style, the norms I mentioned earlier, the atmosphere. Is it walking on eggshells, or is it very, very comfortable eating dinner every day together or something? Who's in charge? That will totally change the way the group functions. What kind of tasks they're actually taking on. Maintenance. What do you need to do to keep the group going? How you make decisions. Huge difference in whether or not you make decisions as a group or you just follow orders. Judgment, how you pass judgment on those in your group and not, how you make decisions. And conflict, how you deal with conflict. Those are all elements in group dynamics. They all play a really important role in how your group works. But group development is a process that every group needs to go through. It just naturally happens because people change, and groups then need to change and develop, just like the people in it. The stages are as follows: forming, storming, norming, performing, and then adjourning. I'm less concerned with adjourning, more concerned with the top four: forming, storming, norming, and performing. Those are the four that you need to remember and understand in order to, as a leader, help your group progress through them, or help yourself understand that although the stage might be difficult, you will get through it. The forming stage is when the group is first put together. It's when you're doing the small talk, you're getting to know each other, you're kind of clarifying who you are, kind of figuring out the direction of the group and making sure you all understand it. Discussion's very surface level. It's not personal at all. Then you move on to storming. This is where opposition comes on. This is where leadership starts to step up and be tested by others who might want the leadership role or might have a strong enough opinion about certain things that it'll test the leader. Not a lot of work gets done through storming. It's really just a people process, the storming stages. But what's important to understand about it is that it is normal. Not only is it normal, it is healthy. Groups need to go through this storming phase in order to move on to the next level of group development. In order to keep on performing and doing better, you kind of have to, it has to get worse before it gets better. People need to storm. They need to figure out and actually fight it out so that it is then the group's decision to move on and not just them going with the flow. It's an interesting process, but it is very important to know that it's necessary. Then norming happens after storming. This is where you've kind of gotten through your storming phase. You've gotten through your fights, and so now you're just kind of starting to get work done. This is when the pecking order is established. And a lot of that happens through storming, but after that, the pecking order is kind of done. Now, pecking order is kind of a brutal term. If you've seen chickens, there is usually in a flock of chickens, one chicken that has the back of its neck pecked. And that is the chicken that is at the bottom of the pecking order. That's what that's referring to. Kind of a brutal term, but the idea behind it is who's in charge, and below that person who's in charge, and who's in the bottom of all that. And that's kind of what is established by the time you hit norming. You found your niche. Where do you work best? Who do you work best with? And you're starting to get work done. Not super efficiently, but you're getting work done. It's all about relationship building with norming. But then the last but not least is the performing. This is when you have gotten through all of that other stuff. You're happy with the position that you're in, or at least you're dealing with it very well. You're unified. You're productive. You've put aside your own concerns for the good of the group. You've gotten through your storming. A lot of reconciliation for the storming that happened before. Integration. This is you integrating all the differences that you all have so that you all work really well together. You're cohesive. You are very focused on the task at hand and not on your own things. The talk is not small talk anymore. You know what's going on in each other's lives. You care about each other. There's a lot of excitement, and you are efficiently getting things done. If there is conflict, it is used to further creativity. It's not part of storming at this point. The conflict would be more just differing opinions that you work through to make a better product. And performing stage is the goal. It's where we want to get, but we have to go through storming and norming in order to get there. Last but not least is a journey. This is when the group separates. A lot of times people are in denial about this, or they look back with this, oh, it was such a great time, rose-colored glasses kind of idea, not able to see any of the negatives that happened. It can either be gradual or it can be abrupt. Sometimes the adjourning stage is kind of a step back to the beginning, kind of like this, where you see it's a continuum. You get to performing and then you move back to norming because something changes. The group's goal changes, or a new person joins the group, or some new technology, or some new rule, or something's changed to push you back into forming. And so it's more of a cyclical pattern rather than a line that you come to an end on. You kind of never stop. A lot of times you'll go through this process in one day, 5 minutes, 10 days, 10 years, or maybe a combination of all of them in one group. It's really just going to kind of depend. Some characteristics of groups. Now you just need to keep in mind that each group's going to be a little bit different, but the things you're kind of going for, we talked about this earlier, a bit of this, but to have good leadership, to have that leadership then is going to make sure that the goals of the group are shared, that skills and roles are balanced. People are balancing each other out, especially when it comes to skills. Good groups are open and candid, and so you as the leader need to be open and candid. Caring about each other, making sure that there's enough challenge. People are excited and they want to push harder because they're being challenged. A nice cohesive group, and celebration of success, being able to have fun. The opposite of that is a dysfunctional group, as you can see here. Lots of selfishness, not comfortable environment, a lot of focus on oneself, too much sameness, or there's not enough diversity, or too much diversity. People are so different they can't relate to each other. It's your group to kind of create that team that idea of the perfect team. That's your goal.